This drive is bone shaking for the passengers and nerve wracking for the driver. It's an amazing experience. There's no way a tourist would ever drive down this road. Mainly because, well, they would say, what the heck is there to see other than broken down roads? But what is there to see? It's not so much as you see, as much as you experience it, and you rethink who you are. You know, the kids here from Atlanta, kids here from upstate New York, kids from Connecticut. This is like being on Mars for them in some ways. But then he started looking around and said, hey, this is real people living their real lives, and we're going to see a little bit of that.
Why does that matter?
Because it expands your capability of interacting with different kinds of people in a very pragmatic way. It requires you to rethink what you have, and what you have experienced so far is not necessarily the only world that exists out there. And it really messes with your normative sense of life. How do you make sense? How do you make meaning of what you're seeing around you? Guys, this is the entrance to the Grand Hotel. We will get separated. I know that. We'll walk down to that road, turn left, and get in and walk down the street to the new market. Stay at least in a group of 2 to 3.
Oh, 450? Yeah, but you give me 400.
Okay. You wanted 1600.
Just for him, he told me 16.
Oh, that is good.
Same price I will charge.
I just bought some bangles and bartered it down. Let's see, it was 3,000, and then he bartered it down for me to 1,600. So it's pretty good deal, I thought.
I've been in India for, I think, it's now 96 hours, I guess. And in the 96 hours, I think I've learned more about what it means to be an Indian than I have in the rest of my life reading and hearing about India. I'm really coming in this trip with a completely just a blank page, and I'm letting the country and the people write the book for me. And I just hope that regardless of how I leave India, whether it's a positive opinion or a negative opinion, whether I hate the country or whether I'm ready to come back in 3 months, I just want to be able to have an opinion that I can say, I understand India.
You don't have to write a lot down today. You just kind of follow the story. The first colonials that arrive in India are actually Portuguese. And they end up coming to a place which today we know as Goa. So if you were to go to Goa, you would find the whole Portuguese tradition, Portuguese churches, Portuguese being spoken. Then the second group that arrives are the French. The French actually didn't spend all that much time in India. They went further east.
In India, everything is just different. There's no real basis that I have for understanding a place like this. But I think that making human connections across both like distance and language and culture is interesting, because everyone, you can laugh about the same things. You may not necessarily understand each other, but we've made friends so far, right? The guys in the house. Yeah, I played cricket with them the other day. I never played cricket in my life. And they want you to come out and just pick up a bat and try it. And it's really fun. It's really fun, but now, now we've shared something together. It was really seeing how other people live who have very different situations than you.
So you could have said that, look, instead of staying in a Salt Lake guest house, these students, let us say, stayed in a hotel. And I said to them, all right, every day for 3 or 4 hours, we're going to go out to this neighborhood, speak to a few people, and you will learn about how the middle class in India lives. Could that have been done? Absolutely. Would it have been useful? To some degree. But what these kids have ended up doing, they've made friends in the neighborhood. They're playing cricket with the people in the guest house. They are walking around the neighborhood. That's a completely different experience from go observe and come back. They're having to negotiate, but they're having to deal with some of the same challenges that the people in the neighborhood have.
This trip is really, it's like kind of a way for me to connect to my culture. I'm ethnically Indian, but I've never been to India or seen that, and I really want to see like where I come from. It's kind of a self-connecting journey. India's really like nothing I've ever seen before, and this trip is really about immersing myself in what the average Indian does on a daily basis. And the average Indian doesn't go to the Taj Mahal and doesn't go to see all the monuments. The average Indian lives life. And some of the things we've seen are schools. Tourists don't go to a school to visit kids. You don't see what a child goes through. Tourists don't do all that. And the way this course is structured really allows you to just get a better understanding of what the average Indian life is.
Well, we've only been here for like,
It's our 4th day.
They play on the radio all the time. I don't know, listen to that much.
not hard rock much, Metallica and some songs.
Not hard rock, but you like Metallica?
Do I live in the campus itself? Yeah. Have a rented apartment?
You live on campus. They give you a room, they give you a meal plan.
I mean, I understand that I could just be an obnoxious American, but I want to understand them. I want to know what it's like, and I want to understand their culture, because we live in a world where we're all connected. There's no disconnect between us, and I want to be able to understand that. And being in a different country and immersing yourself helps me understand them better.
So, yesterday we were in the National Forest of Southern India, which was a tiger reserve, and we got to go on this like safari jeep trip, and we got to like drive through the forest basically. And in this forest, it's like these amazing animals. Like you see them in the zoo, but you don't see them in the wild. So this was the moment in the jungle where I had this epiphany. I was like, this is why I was meant to go on this trip. So we were sitting in this Jeep. It was me and Margaret and Molly. And Anando goes, he says to the driver, he says, "Can the girls sit on the top of the Jeep?" So we immediately climb on top of these Jeeps. So we're in southern India, in a national forest, in a tiger reserve, on top of a Jeep, driving through this road. And at that moment, I was just like, yes, this is awesome. Like, when do you get to do that? I literally was just like looking at the landscape, the trees. It was kind of sunset at this moment. And I was just like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This country, this land is just so cool. And I definitely had an epiphany at that moment.
Travel is fundamentally risky. Things can go wrong in an instant. And if you are saying, I'm not going to try this because it's risky, then you might as well not leave from wherever you are. Particularly at this age of your life, of their lives, 18, 19, you gotta go out and do it. Risk taking. Without risk taking, you can't do a heck of a lot of things. These kids are all risk takers. Greater the degree of risk taking, greater the possibility of success. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
One basket, 2 rupees. You need me now. Okay, 2 rupees.
No.
2 rupees.
No! Can I have a piece again?
1 and 2 rupees for you.
Me neither.
अगर लोगों को ज़्यादा परेशान करते हैं
It's one thing to say no when people are asking like to buy stuff, but is it different? Like,
Yeah,
it's food.
like the food is definitely different.
It's different. I think it's not as hard when they've been bugging you for so long. It's like you're annoyed anyways, and so it's not hard to say no to the food.
Yeah.
But initially, if they're just asking for food, it is really hard. They're asking for a photo right now.
No!
And it's like, why would you want a picture of me?
Yeah.
You know, we're not used to it. It's like, photo.
Anything you can do, I can do.
Locals come here and hang out on Sundays with their families, and so they're surprised to see white people. And meanwhile, like, those are the things we want to do. We want to experience the things that, regular Indians do on a daily basis, but those end up being the things where we draw the most attention because we're the only white people, and so it sort of sucks. and we don't experience that really at home at all, and so it's really different, and it took a while to get used to because it's just like, because of the way I look, I draw this much attention. Like right now, people are standing watching me talk to the camera, and it's just, I don't get it.
It's pretty harmless though. Like,
Yeah.
But it just gets kind of annoying. Like, people always want to take pictures and stuff.
Yeah,
It's just like, that's fine, but just like, leave me alone. Let me do my own thing.
And it's like, from where we're from, we don't stare at Indians.
Stop! Cut the shit! Nahin!
You guys realize that like you guys are white, and white is in most cultures who aren't white, that is like the perception of beauty. You would use products and stuff to try and make yourself lighter skinned, to try and be whiter.
Yeah.
You guys aren't just white people. You guys are white. It's a pretty big thing.
Yeah. I'm just who I am, and it's weird when that means something different to somebody else. And I guess it's also sort of, I don't know, it's kind of an experience where like I have never really been a minority, and like, here we are, and it's an interesting thing to experience. Like you kind of like put yourself in someone else's skin.
I was talking to Professor Mitra the other day, and he mentioned that coming to India is really about figuring out who you are. And I think that's very true, and it's true with lots of different kinds of adventures, especially travel in general. whenever you leave home and go outside your comfort zone, you're finding a new part of yourself in a different culture. You're collecting your identity from all over the world, and I think that that's something that you have to strive for, and you have to go out of your comfort zone to find who you can be.
Want to see that more for us?
I'll take that.
I have you. Take it for this one. Please too less for me, really.
Okay, well, I'll just go.
Okay, not you, not mine. Give me 275 per day. Okay? Hold in the with me.
You make change.
How much you have? 5. Or something else?
No,
Let us have a wall table and
I realized that I'm basically the same person, but there are some really fundamental but kind of minute changes that I've noticed in myself. I'm a lot tougher than I thought I was. I can withstand heat that feels like 114 degrees Fahrenheit. I can assert myself, and I can get a rickshaw. I can barter for a scarf and get it half price. I can be away from my parents for, long stretches of time and be okay. I can get my laundry done. So I think I've just realized that I'm able to do things. I'm able to travel the world and be a tough, independent person.
Traditional Indian form of teaching was built around the idea of the ashram, and the ashram was it's that word has been abused in the West quite a bit now, but the real meaning of the word is a condition where the teacher and the family lives with the students, or the students come and live with the teacher, and what they learn is not just what the subject matter is, but to learn about life by living with the teacher and the family.
Almost like a spirituality aspect of it.
Okay, that helps me. Okay.
We joke around that we don't have actual class a lot, but we really do, because Ananda's really tricky and gathering us together and just talking to us about where we are, what we'll be seeing, who we'll be meeting with, and putting that into context, which is really important.
We are sitting in that area, so the mountains around us are part of the Himalayas, but it's called the Ladakh
Just
Range.
for the type of trip we're doing, we're spending a week in a place and then moving on. I think that it's really beneficial to have more of a loosely based class where we definitely have central themes, not your average 2 hours a day in a classroom, books, lecture style. It's not that.
Orada lucrusu adı konuda 나도만 해보다 시리 나도 내가 대륙 이제 교주 차지돼 거기 여종사
I mean, I don't care about the pretty cooperative, man.
We're here at the Maitra Buddha, which is a female Buddha who faces Pakistan, and it's about 25 miles away from the border, and it's supposed to protect India against invasion.
Got it. You look very small.
This is actually a spaceship.
So earlier we were talking about how travel, especially to places that challenge your sensibilities, is transformative. With student groups in the past, how has that manifested itself?
Very real life manifestation, which I actually think will happen again, is after this experience, the kids don't want to leave. It literally, they say, can we spend a little bit longer here? Because we haven't quite gotten this yet. And that's after 6 weeks. I think that's where the transformation happens. And then the other way is, do you want to come back?
I'm upset about the end of the trip, actually. When I first came here, my mindset was that 5 weeks is a long time, especially for a country like India. And I thought that I either really want to leave or that I would have come and I'd be like, I got it over with, it's done, I don't want to come back. But I could stay for another 5 weeks easily. Yeah, I'm gonna come back.
The difficulty that you guys are facing is figuring out who you are. You guys some of you knew each other, others didn't know each other, and then you got thrown together in this boot camp. If you put a label to it, it becomes easier. And the label could easily be the India family.
Ananda just talked to us. He basically gave us the last talk of the trip, which made me a little sad. I guess some people it doesn't make sad. But he was talking about how we're all like a Indian family, and that hit me for some reason. Oh, that's true. We've been the same group for 5.5 weeks. It's over a month. Too much! Which for some people is too much. But not really. I don't know, it's a period of time where you actually you get to know everyone in the group so well, and it's just sad that this is the last time we're all gonna spend together. We're such a small group, and we do everything together, and we just become a family.